It's recording. I think it is. Okay, so I promise I would give more detail to this chapter on hair. We're starting to look at different type of evidence. We're going to focus on one evidence every chapter. In class, I was discussing, I went through a few things, but I just want to give more details now. So identify the various parts of the hair. We did that. We talked a little bit about distinguish between human and non-human hair, but let's just go through that. And so the vocabulary of it. I think one of the activity you're going to do is you're going to look at hair from different color and different species under the microscope. That's going to be one of the things you'll have to draw that. My daughter's watching TikToks next to me. What is she supposed to study for? Social study? Yeah, that's true. All right. Yeah, she's the one that CB keeps on red. No, you delivered. Undelivered. That's even worse. Just kidding. All right. So, the first question I asked was, what type of evidence is hair? Is it individual or class? And of course, you answered correctly that it's class evidence, because if you find hair on a crime scene, you won't be able to know exactly who that hair is from, but you'll be able to at least increase the probative value and realize that, okay, either the victim or someone involved had that specific type of hair, which always reduce the number of suspect. Now, of course, and as you said in class, if the hair has follicle and you have enough, then you can extract DNA from it, and that becomes then an individual evidence. Okay. What we didn't talk about is that also you can perform other tests on hair, to reveal drugs, to see if someone, if that person was taking drugs, any trace of poisoning, toxin, and even nutritional deficiencies. Okay. And the DNA from hair, of course, can reveal the suspect family. So empty DNA. We're going to talk about this more when we talk about DNA, but this is mitochondrial DNA. Of course, you know that your DNA is inside the nucleus of your cell, but you also have a small circular DNA called mitochondrial DNA, of course, inside of your mitochondria, as you know, as the mitochondria.
That's the powerhouse.
The powerhouse of the cell. See?
Yeah.
There you go. Let's go. All right, cool. So they usually use mitochondrial DNA to connect someone with the mother. Yes. Okay.
You're not knowing.
I forgot. That's been a while in my thought biology. Okay. My daughter doesn't like me very much. All right. So a little history of hair analysis. It started in the 19th century. Okay. So it was first covered in 1883. Then at the beginning of this 20th century in France, Victor Balthazar and Marcel Lambert, and then used the microscope in 1934. And nowadays, hair analysis consists of looking at hair through the microscope, class evidence, and DNA analysis, individual evidence. Functions of hair, regulates body temperature, protects you from the cold, decrease the friction, protect against sunlight. Also, you can use it as sense, and those are different functions. Okay, but the main one is to regulate body temperature, which mostly is protecting you from the cold. Okay, so now the structure of the human hair, this is the structure that you see here is the one that you learn in biology. And guess what? This is not a biology class. So let's skip that to the structure that is more important for forensic scientists, which is the one I showed you in class that looks like a pencil. Where you have the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. The cuticle is the outer layer, all right, the one that's transparent, the one that when you look at the microscope, you see that is kind of scaly, all right? There's a different type of medulla. Most of us has unbroken line, the continuous medulla pattern. Sometimes it can become interrupted. Sometimes it's fragmented. It all depends on, the type of chemical that you use in your hair. All right. It can be solid. That means you don't see the medulla at all. Or some of them doesn't have a medulla at all. So
How do you even know that?
don't judge me. So you will have different type of hair even in your body. The hair under your armpits will be different than the hair on your head. And it will be different than even the hair in your pubic area. All right. So
Why are you teaching people this?
because it's forensic science.
Mm.
Because, for example, I'll give you an example because she's asking my question. If you see a lot of trace of pubic hair in a crime scene, then it might be a sexual crime compared to something else. So it's important to know from which part of your body the hair comes from.
Mm.
You understand?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Bobby.
Yes. So here you can see the difference between hair coming from a beard, hair coming from a pubic hair, it's more buckling, and hair coming from a arm or leg hair. But you see, you can see quite the difference. There's a difference in the medulla, and just in the way, like if it's straight or a bit more buckled. Okay. Life cycle of hair. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but it might be important, to see. We look at the hair and see in what cycle they are. That does so. It will mean that if someone has passed away, you can determine by the life cycle, like how long that body has been there. We are going to spend more time on that when we look at forensic entomology, when we look at the human body and decomposition and all that. Sorry. Hair treated, dye, and other things. You can see I showed that in class, and it shows like the medulla kind of disappears when you dye or treat your hair under different color. And here it is. This is the slide that I like the most. When they say there are some key physical characteristics that are associated with hair of different ancestral group, which means that for people of different races, their hair will be different, and they still use that nowadays for forensic investigation, which is discriminatory. Okay, because nowadays I've seen a video on TikTok actually where there's a Asian guy who curl his hair with little things and then looks at it and then like a permanent and he has his hair like a his hair like a black. So what does that know? That's weird. So what does that say, right? And of course, yeah. Yeah, Uncle
I don't-
Vision showing me.
No, I saw this picture of this guy that kept coming. Asian people with curly hair. It was wavy.
Yeah, but see, but if you look here at the characteristic of Asian hair, it's that it's straight and nothing else, right? But it's just nowadays it's just discriminatory, and say that African American have curly and kinky hair that it's coiled. A lot of African American women, straight their hair, which I think it's very bad.
You don't like it?
No, black women should be proud of the way they.
Oh, God.
That's why I don't like. That's why I don't like your braid. I said, wear your hair naturally.
So different.
All right, queens, wear your hair naturally.
Oh, you're so weird.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, but of course, in they still use those characteristics. Sorry. In forensic investigation, although it does lead to, mistakes based on discrimination. Okay. We spoke about the difference between animal hair and human hair. It's all with the size of the medulla. You have to calculate the medullary index, which is the diameter of the medulla over the diameter of your hair. 0.5 or more of a medullary index is animal, and 0.3 or less is definitely human hair. Okay, so you can also differentiate animal and human hair with hair cuticle. For example, the cuticle when it's imbricate, it's human. If it's spinous, it's it's animal. Anything that's not imbricate is not human hair. Okay. The most important instrument for hair analysis is microscope. We're going to use regular microscope, but electron microscope is even better because with electron microscope, you can actually look at the cuticle and look at the scale pattern. Okay, because you can magnify with 50,000 and even more, which is much more than the 500 you have with a regular one. Okay. If you extract DNA from hair, you are going to replicate it using PCR. More to that or chapter on DNA. Honestly, I was right. Mitochondria can be used to establish a genetic relationship through the mother because your mother transmit the mitochondrial DNA to you, not the father. Okay, so you get that DNA from your mom. All right. And that's about it for this chapter. Okay, so this chapter will be quick. We're going to do a worksheet on the hair structure and function, probably maybe one discussion, a video discussion, and then microscope observation, and then we'll move on to the next one, which I think is blood. Blood right after. Blood is more fun.
I know. Type AB. We know that's personality.
No, type AB is a blood type.
Oh.
Yeah.
There was also like type BB personality,
Yeah.
AA.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
No,
Okay.
I got it mixed up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's it for us tonight. Stop recording.